You left a gap that time. I did it weird.
I know you did do it weird.
And you left a gap.
It was like you were, I don't know, calling.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm here. I'm sitting opposite you.
I don't know why I did it weird. Just thought I'd do it weird. Why not?
My name's Nick.
My name's Adam.
Welcome to the Bottom of the Stream movie show.
Oh, we should do that more. I liked it. You looked right in my eyes as we did it. It was weird. How are you, Nick?
I saw your soul.
Oh, you're looking in the wrong place. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm very good.
Good. You excited?
I am excited. Do you know why I'm mostly excited?
Why?
'Cause I've not quite made up my mind about this movie that we're going to talk about.
Same. It's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a really weird
It is
one.
a weird one. The movie itself is not as weird as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really?
Yes.
This movie's a lot more weird than I was expecting.
Really?
I was just expecting a classic horror story. And it ain't.
Well, you don't think it does what it says on the tin?
It's just a hodgepodge of horror cliches.
Yes, but there's reasons
Yeah.
why it wants to be that.
Yeah.
Which we will get to. I'm not sure where I stand on it and how much I enjoyed it.
To be fair, I'm not either. So we're going on a voyage of discovery.
So I'm looking forward to bouncing some of this stuff off you.
Same.
And
So
see where we land.
This week we're watching a film that is called A Classic Horror Story and is a classic horror story. It's recent. It's from June this year, 2021. Came out.
Oh, it's just a little baby
It
film.
is. It's a tiny little baby one. It's 15. It runs for 1 hour, 35 minutes. Currently rated at 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb and is a Netflix original. Stars the lady with the longest name in the world. She is called Matilda Anna Ingrid Lutz. And she plays Elisa.
Okay.
These are obviously all Italian people in this. It's an Italian film. These are all Italian people.
Not all Italian?
No, they're not all Italian. This is what I was going to ask you as well, because I watched the dub.
Okay.
So I'm like, I think some of these are actually properly Americans and English people.
Mark is English.
Yeah. So it wasn't the dub I was watching wasn't a dub. It was really weird. But we'll come to that. In a minute. She is in Rings, which is one of the sequels to The Ring.
Okay.
With Leonard from The Big Bang Theory in that film. What's his name? Johnny Galecki.
I've seen the Japanese Ring. I've seen the American remake.
Same.
I stopped.
She's in, I
'Cause
think
why?
that's the
Do you need
fourth
more?
sequel that she's in.
Oh, okay.
Francesco Russo is also in the film. He plays Fabrizio. Peppino Mazzotta plays Riccardo. I did not write down the name of the English or American people in it. I don't know why. But
They don't last that long.
They don't, that's true. Directed by two people. Directed by Roberto Fio and Paolo Strippoli. Again, you won't have heard of any of their other stuff, I don't think. Written by 5 people.
Okay. It's authored by committee.
It's written by Roberto Fio, Paolo Strippoli, Lucio Bassana, Milo Tissoni, David Bellini.
Excellent. Good work.
Lots of Italian names there. Written by 5 Italians. Do you have a one-word review of A Classic Horror Story?
Outdoorsy.
It's very outdoorsy. We do go indoors a couple of times, but not very much. Where does this film start, Nick?
There's a deer.
There is. It's dead.
It's
Mounted.
just a head of a deer.
It's a mounted deer head.
We're in like a cabin.
Cabin in the woods.
Sure.
That also had a
There's
deer.
not that
in it.
many woods where the cabin is.
No, the cabin's in a
It's
clearing
surrounded
in
by
the woods.
And there's a girl. There's a girl.
Yep.
There's a girl on the table.
There's a girl on the table. She's tied to the table.
She is.
Um,
She's not enjoying herself.
She's not having the best day of her life. I'm not going to lie to you. Some nice music playing.
Sure.
And then this dude comes in with a massive hammer.
Indeed, yeah.
Like a test of strength type hammer. We cut to a... Does he...
Someone's watching through the door.
Yeah, somebody is watching through the door.
There's an eyeball.
Yes. Then she kind of gets her head smashed in, we think, but it happens off
cuts
camera.
away.
Cuts away. And then we cut to a camper van.
Road trip.
And we hit the title card. Comes up with the classic horror story, comes up on the screen. And we are met with a girl. This is Eliza.
She's in a diner.
She's in a diner.
Roadside cafe.
She's not very well. She's throwing up a little bit.
Yeah, she is blowing chunks.
Yep.
In the stall.
Blowing chunks.
Yeah.
That's such a 90s phrase. Was that Beavis and Butthead?
It's probably. No.
That's where you get most of your phrases from.
Yeah.
She makes a phone call. We later find out she's talking to her mother. And she's on her way to have a scheduled surgery. Because she can't afford to have a baby.
No way. And her mother's like, you're at university. It's the wrong time. You can't be having a baby, girl like you.
Her mum's like, basically all of that. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
She's getting on her way to have a baby. She's going to get rid of this baby.
But Christ is watching.
Yes, he is.
Because
Looking over her.
there's a big picture of Christ.
Because Italy.
Yeah. And she's kind of eyeballing it.
Yeah. And then she leaves this cafe.
She does.
And this camper van that we met earlier pulls up,
Yes.
beeps its horn, and she gets in.
I was very confused
Me
for
too.
a few minutes here.
Me too, but it's explained quite quickly what's happening. So
Yeah.
this is a carpooling,
It's a ride share.
a ride share thing that she's found on an app.
Yeah.
So there's 5 people in this camper van.
Yeah, all going to the similar
place,
destination.
but nobody knows
Knows
each
each other.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
The American and English guy are a couple. Girl and guy are a couple, but the others don't know him from Adam.
Yeah.
That's me. And Fabrizio is the driver and presume the owner of this camper van.
It's his mum's van,
Yeah.
is what he says later on.
And he's making a video for YouTube.
Yeah, he's a vlogger.
He's making a road trip vlog.
He's a aspiring film director.
Yeah, he's doing a film course somewhere at
Yeah.
uni, isn't he? And the group of we kind of meet them all now. They all introduce themselves to this film, and it's a way for them to introduce themselves to this film.
Yeah, so the couple are travelling to go to a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
Ricardo is a doctor. He's going to see his friends.
Yeah.
And then, yes, we've already met Elisa.
We don't know where Fabrizio's going. He's just driving around these random people.
Sure.
It doesn't take long before they have to pull over because Elisa's about to be sick again.
She is, but not before they pass a creepy road sign.
Oh, what did the creepy road sign say?
There's a billboard of a family,
Oh, yeah. And
like advertising milk or
Yeah,
something,
and
but all their
eyes are
eyes and
coloured in.
mouths have been like blacked out.
Yeah. So they pull over. They have a bit of banter. They're all chatting away.
Mark's quite racist
Yeah. And drunk.
because he's the English guy, the ginger guy, and he's like, oh, Italian, pasta, lasagna, tortellini.
Yeah. And he's had a few to drink, hasn't he?
Typical Englishman abroad.
So he decides, I'm going to drive now, even though it's not my car, not my camper van,
This bit was dodgy.
and I'm drunk. So I'm going to drive now.
Yeah, and Fabrizio puts up no or very little resistance.
Yeah, he's a bit of a weak character at this
Mark's
point.
like, well, we're going too slow. I'm going to drive.
Yeah.
He's had a skinful, and no one says,
No.
well, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. It's all like he's
four
like
of the people.
the alpha male of the group, and
But
nobody's
he's
going
all right.
to nerd.
Whip it.
Whip it. It's a little ginger whippet. That's been said now. And so Fabrizio sits alongside him in the front seat.
This took me out of it a bit because
Okay.
I just like, well, this is stupid. Why are they letting him drive?
Yeah.
Why are they letting this drunk guy drive through the woods?
One guy on this bus is a doctor, an older doctor than the rest of them.
I felt it forced.
Yes, agreed.
And it didn't. I had a bit of a problem for about 5 minutes getting past this. To be
It's
honest.
okay though because he gets injured quite soon after this.
He does.
And so Mark and Fabrizio are sitting in the front seat. They're bonding. Everybody else has fallen asleep. It's night time. They're chatting away. They're bonding.
Yeah.
Fabrizio still thinks he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah, Fabrizio's
But he is
like,
a bit
oh,
of a
I'm a nerd. No one likes me. And Mark's like, oh, yeah, I used to be a bit like that.
Yeah. This is where we found out that he's doing a film course.
Yes.
Let me just put my phone on silence.
Please.
It's on. That's my terrible podcasting skills there.
Fabrizio has hearing difficulties as well.
Yes.
He's got like a hearing aid, or that's what he says to Mark.
Yeah.
Because he was assaulted when he was younger.
So while they're talking, they fail to spot until too late that there appears to be a dead animal in the road.
Yeah.
A deer. A deer? I think it was a deer.
It was a goat.
Okay, it wasn't a deer. It was a goat. There's a dead goat in the road. And so Mark spots it at the last minute, swerves to avoid it.
Well, no.
No, he didn't. I'm
Fabrizio
lying.
swerves in.
Fabrizio grabs the wheel off him
Yeah,
and swerves the camper van away from the goat in the road
sure.
and hits a tree.
Initially, I didn't like this bit, but I've since forgiven it.
Okay.
Because I was like, why are you swerving? It's already dead.
You're not going to run
Drive
over it.
over it. You're in a camper van.
You're not going to run over a dead goat that's already dead.
You are if you see it at the last minute.
Oh, I don't think I
Keep
would.
going. I'm not risking swerving and hitting a tree, which put it that way.
A dead goat's going to do some damage to the underside of your van.
So it's a tree.
Fact.
And that's what happens.
So they hit this tree. The film fades to black. And then it comes back in. And they all wake up. Elisa wakes up first. And we see her waking up.
Yeah.
And
With
there's some chaos
her
going
point
on.
of view. Yeah.
We don't know what's happened, but some time seems to have passed where they've all been unconscious. Mark's in a bad way. Mark's legs hurt. Damaged. It's damaged his leg in this crash. And he is screaming. He loves a scream. Screaming, it hurts. Is it Eliza, or Elisa?
I had a Lisa.
Okay. She realizes that she's got no signal on her phone.
Like someone called Lisa who really likes playing video games.
Elisa.
Yeah.
Wow. She realizes she's got no signal on her phone. The other girl in the group also confirms this. Then the doctor says, "Okay, we'll go outside. We'll go onto the road."
He's like, "I can make a splint.
Yeah,
I'm a doctor." So
he
they
makes
do
a splint.
that.
He makes a splint. Splints Mark's legs. He's like, "We'll go out onto the road. We'll figure out what's going on." Elisa looks out of the curtains and she says, "There is no road."
Yeah. We've not gone back to the future.
We've not gone back to the future. There's no roads. Because now, somehow, they're in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. We'll come back to this.
Yeah?
I'm not sure this was ever fully explained to my satisfaction.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more.
A lot of other things happened, which I think they did quite a good
There's
job.
lots
and
of
you're
weird
like,
shit
okay,
happening.
yeah, I can go with that when the twist comes later on. I don't think this was ever,
No.
to my mind, satisfactorily answered.
No, because it makes you think something supernatural is happening here
Yeah.
now. And that isn't what this is.
Yes.
This isn't a supernatural film. But then they do try to explain it, but don't quite explain it.
No, I don't think they ever do, but we'll come back to that.
Agreed. So they're really confused. They're in the middle of nowhere in this field when they were a second ago, according to them, on the road. Then they spot a cabin or a house.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, we'll just go knock on the door. We'll be saved. Everybody.
It's a striking design of
It's a
this
lovely,
cabin, isn't it?
lovely little cabin.
You say lovely, I say quite
Creepy.
creepy. It's like half a star, isn't it? The roof
The
is
roof's
like
it's very triangular.
point of a star and then the two arms coming out.
Yeah.
Cool design, I thought.
Cool design. But it's just in the middle of this field, in
Yeah,
the middle
on
of
its
nowhere, on its own. So they go knock on the door. Nobody answers.
They walk past, as they are walking across this field, they walk past some loudspeakers.
Yes.
On a
On
pole.
a pole.
And the speakers are playing cricket noises. I mean the insects, not like
4.
the bowler's holding the
golf.
batsman's willy, or whatever that famous bit of commentary is.
What?
That's a famous bit of cricket commentary.
Really?
Yeah, the
I've never
bowler's
heard
holding
Yeah.
the batsman's willy.
Oh, okay. So as in that's their names?
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good joke.
It's true. It's not a joke. It's true.
Yeah, but it's a good joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is going to be a weird episode. There's no answer at the house, so Riccardo and Fabrizio decide they're going to go and look for this road that they've lost. And Elisa texts her mum, although she's got no signal on her phone.
Yeah.
She sends her
It's
a
like,
text
might be
just in
late for
case.
that abortion.
Then she goes to try and bond with Sophia, who's the other girl in the group, a little bit.
Sure, because their boyfriend's laid up with a
he's got a damaged up leg.
bad leg.
So they go and watch some TikTok videos, or TikTok style videos, of Mark, who appears to be a TikTok star.
Why not?
Or an aspiring TikTok star. Gets his bum out in one of them. They bond. The two girls make friends. Riccardo and Fabrizio are not bonding as well.
No, so they're walking through the woods, and Fabrizio is quite annoying. He's telling Riccardo, "Oh, I like films. I'm really into films. Wouldn't it be weird if this was like a time loop movie and we just kept walking around in circles and we ended up back at the cabin?"
Yeah. Then that happens. But they find some weird sculptures out in the woods to start
They find
with,
some
don't they?
Blair Witch shit.
Yeah, some
Twig sculptures.
There's
some pig heads.
Yeah. So then we come back to the bus. Elisa looks out of the window and spots that the front door of the house is now open.
It is.
Even though they haven't seen anybody go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So she goes back to the house. And she goes into the house.
On her own.
On her own. Now, she's in a horror movie. You wouldn't think you'd go in a house on your own, would you?
No.
It is the house from earlier on that we met in the pre-credits scene.
Mm-hmm.
It is that house. We've confirmed that now.
We see the deer.
We see the deer.
See the table.
We see some pig's head.
There's loads of creepy photos.
Yeah, it's all very weird. Some of the creepy photos of people who have got pig's heads for heads.
Yeah.
They're masks, but you know what I mean. And now they're all in the cabin. Suddenly everybody turns
Yeah,
up.
this was a bad cut. She finds a load of candles, doesn't she, which are all switched on, lit.
Switched on. Switch that candle on, Nick.
And there's a shrine,
Yeah.
basically. And then, we turn around and everyone's back.
Yeah, they're all there.
Including Fabrizio and Riccardo,
Yeah.
who have just returned from the woods.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
They just thought, well, we're not going to look anymore.
Mark's not there because Mark's in a
come
bad
back.
way in the bus.
Yeah.
Does he ever even get out of the bus? Oh, we might get dragged out of the bus later.
And Fabrizio says, I recognise these guys in these paintings at this shrine.
He gives us a bit of exposition at this point, doesn't he? So
My mother used to tell me this story, or my grandmother.
So basically, it's 3 brothers who came from another world, and they made villagers make sacrifices for them.
Yeah,
That's your basic story.
In exchange for giving them food and keeping the village fed.
Yeah, and it says that these guys used to cut out people's tongues.
Yeah, because one brother has no tongue, one has no eyes, and one has no ears.
Yeah, so that's what they used to do to the villagers.
They used to offer them.
They used to cut out their tongues, ears, and eyes, and then these guys would rid the villagers of their hunger.
Yeah.
Then the big villagers became a flock, and they started following these guys and worshipping these guys. And
Sure, we've got a cult on our hands.
Yeah, that's how these guys became these religious figures that they are today. They think at this point that somebody's fucking with them, that they're being pranked.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking at this point. So they decide, we're not going to sleep in this creepy house tonight. Let's sleep in the camper van.
Sure.
It's not even a camper van, is it? It's like a bus. It's massive. Yeah. And Fabio explains their situation, and he even says at this point, this is like the setup for a classic horror movie.
He says this is like a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah.
So he's just...
Spider-Man. Then he's like, right, I'm going out for a wee. I need a wee. So he goes out for this wee. Something's watching him have a wee.
There's a guy in the woods with a tree mask on.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Creepy weird.
Good image, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was creepy.
It was. And then a big light comes on in the cabin.
And they hear a scream.
Yeah, they hear some noises. So the two girls go to investigate.
Yep. Good on.
And they go into the house trying to figure out what's going on. Sophia goes up into the attic of the house on her own. And Fabrizio's like, oh, there's something out in the woods. He comes back. He's like, there's something out in the woods. I've seen something.
Yeah.
And then they, all of a sudden, they're all in the attic again.
Yeah.
Except for Mark. Apart from Mark, they're all... So these people have the ability to just appear next to each other.
Sure.
It's really strange. It's twice it's happened now.
It's a bit like last week in Destruction in Las Vegas, where people
just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
then
then
up next to their friends.
Then they find a girl.
They do. And this was creepy as well. So they get into this attic.
Yeah.
And she's in like a open sarcophagus made of twigs.
It's like a Wicker Man.
Yeah.
She's like, think of the Wicker Man all the way through this film. It's those sort of style of...
That's the vibe it's
That's
going
the vibe.
For.
She's got no tongue.
No, there's a jam jar
Yeah.
with her tongue in it next to her.
But we don't get a chance to meet this girl at this point because all of a sudden everything goes red.
Yes.
A huge red light shines through the window and the sirens that we saw earlier outside start blaring.
Yeah.
So something's about to go down. Right?
And as soon as the siren starts, the kid starts crying.
Yes, because she knows, I assume, what's about to happen.
Sure.
And then something's got Mark. So Mark they left on the bus.
Some shapes drag him out of the bus.
Some shapes drag him out of the bus. It's a good way to describe it.
Because
it was
exactly
what happened.
Quite dark, and I couldn't see it very well.
This was a very dark film.
Yeah.
I was watching it. I was like, I can't see any of this. I just watched Batal.
Happens a lot that in some of the stuff we see.
Yeah.
It's surprising, isn't it?
It is. I just watched Batal. You can't see anything in that whole last episode in Batal. I had to turn all the lights off in the house just to watch what's on the screen. And then I'm watching this, and I was like, why can't I watch anything that's set in the daytime? But something's got him, and something ties him to the table that we saw earlier. And then
Hammer Man comes in. Not MC Hammer.
Big Hammer. Greg the Hammer Valentine comes in. That's an old school reference for you. He gets all Kathy Bates on us.
Yeah, he does.
He hammers his ankles.
Yeah.
And it was quite gruesome.
It was gruesome.
The first one especially.
Unnecessary considering what they were about to do.
Yeah. So they smashed both of his ankles up with this massive mallet. And the film is not scared to show you his feet bending back on themselves. It was horrible.
Our friends in the attic are, because this is an old wooden shack, can handily see through the floorboards.
Yes.
And are viewing all of this.
So they see his ankles get smashed up.
Yeah.
It's a good little effect.
Ricardo's kind of grabbed Mark's girlfriend.
Yeah, because she's trying to scream.
And sort of holding her back. Yeah.
And then they've got this really weird jigsaw type contraption, like from Saw.
Like a corkscrew.
Yeah, almost. And it fits over his head. Yeah. It fits over his head. And the two corkscrew things, I don't know why I'm doing the hand motions, but they head towards his eyes.
They do.
As if they're going to corkscrew his eyes out. And then
they corkscrew his eyes out. There's lots of squelching.
Yes. You don't actually see this bit, but you can hear it and hear his reaction to it.
Yeah.
And then he suddenly stops screaming and we cut to the next day.
They drag him off.
Yeah. But we don't see any. We're pretty sure he's dead at this point, but we don't actually see him die.
Sirens stop.
Yeah.
And the three figures drag him away.
And that's it. We cut to the next day. It's daytime again. They decide, right, we'll get this girl out of where she is.
There's a bit of an argument, but it's not. It's a bit half-hearted, isn't
They're taking this girl with them.
A bit like we saw when we watched Villains.
Yes.
It's the sort of, she's not our responsibility. We can't leave a girl on her own.
We'll take her with us.
Yeah.
So they do. Ricardo wants to leave like now.
It looked like fun taking that like twig sarcophagus apart. As well.
Yeah, because one of them was trying to be really delicate with it, and then he just ripped it apart with his hands. Ricardo wants to go now, so they go now. They escape into the woods. This is the point where they come across part of a road that...
There's like a slow motion escaping / tripping over montage.
Yeah, there is for a little while. And then there's a part of a road in the middle of this woods that's full of cars.
This is a car graveyard.
Yeah, as if this has happened before.
I think.
And then Sophia says, this has
has
happened before.
That is the desired effect they wanted to have
So,
on you.
We don't ever get an explanation of how this truck got into the woods.
No.
But it's happened a lot of times before, and then they get abandoned here on this bit of road.
Sure.
Because there's a lot. There's what?
Oh, yeah, many.
30, 40?
Yeah.
So it's a bit unforgivable that that's not explained.
Yeah, there's a bit of an attempt at some character work then because Sophia and Ricardo, the doctor, argue because she's like, well, what the hell are you doing on a carpool? You're a rich doctor.
Yeah.
And that's kind of left there for now.
And he blames Mark for them being there in the first place because he was driving drunk, even though nobody tried to stop him driving drunk.
They could all take a good hard look at themselves. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because then Ricardo blames her. He's like, you should have fought me last night, and I'd have let you go and save Mark, but you didn't fight hard enough. Yeah. You didn't want to save him.
This guy's
a
dick.
Yeah, he's a dick. I think the girl was called Kiara.
Yes.
Kiara. Something along those lines. And she can't speak. Obviously, she's got no tongue.
We know this because she is holding her diary /
she's got like a notepad.
Yeah.
And she writes down, because they're talking about them being stuck in this forest, and she writes down the words, "It's not a forest."
Yeah.
Again,
it's a tease.
It's a tease because we do find out what this all is, but I feel like I wanted more from hinting at it's going to be supernatural.
Yeah.
And then it just isn't. And I felt a little bit let down by that.
Okay.
That makes sense?
It does. Yeah.
And then the sirens start going off again. They're a little bit further away this time, but you can hear these sirens going off in the distance. So they run out into the forest again. But they end up back where they started.
Exactly happens what Fabrizio
said
might happen if they were in a time loop.
They were stuck in... It's not necessarily a time loop. It's like a space-time loop where they've continued heading south. Fabrizio knows the way south. And so they've always walked south, but they've ended up back where they started somehow. It's weird.
Come in on the opposite side of the clearing.
But now the camper van's not there.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone. It's just the cabin. And Fabrizio's screaming at them. He's like, this can't be possible. This can't happen. We've been heading south the whole time.
All that's left is a single bottle of beer in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Which is the same beer that they were drinking in the camper van.
Yeah. So they decide it's coming up to nighttime again. They decide they're probably safer inside the house than they are outside the house.
Sure.
And one of them says if they come back, we'll just burn the whole place down. The cabin, the forest, everything.
All right, easy.
Yeah. Can't be that hard.
Might as well just start that now.
Yeah.
I would have suggested if that's your plan.
It's all made of wood. And then they're in the house. They're having a chat. We get some more background on some of these characters.
Yeah, they decide to take turns on watch.
Yeah. So Ricardo tells them all that he's on disciplinary probation because he accidentally killed one of his patients by mistake.
Yeah. And his wife's left him.
And his wife left him, won't let him see his daughter. And he was on his way to live with his mother. He was going back home to live with his mum.
Sure.
That's where he was heading. Fabrizio, did he have somebody killed? Is that was his story?
It's a joke.
Oh, was it?
So it was a joke about how people thought he was a stereotypical mobster because he's from the south of Italy.
Yes, you're right.
And he tells a joke about basically how people always say that to him and he resents it. And he didn't like people suggesting that he was a mafia guy just because of where he was from.
Yeah.
So he had that person killed.
And then they all laughed at him. Yeah. It was a joke.
It wasn't bad.
Eliza's mum had kind of guilt-tripped her into staying in college. And that's the kind of backstory. Sophia doesn't even say anything.
Well, she works out that Elisa is pregnant.
Yeah. We find that out.
Yeah.
We knew, but they know now. Then they all fall asleep.
They do.
They all have a sleep. Even Fabrizio says, I'll stay on watch. And even he falls asleep.
Yeah. Well, they're all sharing around the beer, aren't they? Because it's like they've not had
They've
anything
got
to
this
drink
one
for
beer.
24 hours. And he says, no, not for me. I'm first on
Stay
watch.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the red light comes on and the sirens start going off again.
Yeah, we wake up when we follow Elise waking
when
up.
she wakes up.
Yeah.
So she goes outside because everybody else has gone. She's not.
Yeah, she seems to be alone.
She seems to be alone in the house.
The shack.
So it must take her longer to wake up than everybody else. She goes outside and there's a crowd of people out there.
The whole town out there.
Yeah, but they've all got creepy masks on.
Yeah, some like we said, some animal masks, some like tree masks.
Tree masks and pig masks. Sophia and Ricardo are tied up next to a fire. It's a wicker man, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge wicker man.
It's a huge wicker man. And the kid's inside that
thing again. The basket
sarcophagus. Inside that wicker man thing, yeah. Fabrizio grabs her and he drags her back into the cabin. So they watched what's going to happen next through the window.
Well, he says, cabin. Don't watch. I know what's about to happen because remember my grandma told me the legend.
Yeah. And then the crowd all start making these weird clicking noises. It was really creepy.
It's like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
It was really, really creepy. I didn't like it at all.
No, because there's about 100 of them and it's horrible.
It's a horrible noise and I didn't like it. Then Sophia and Ricardo get their eyes taken out.
Again, because it was dark, I struggled to follow what was happening there.
Yeah.
Because I thought they both had their ears off.
No.
But then it cuts back to her and she's got no eyes.
Yeah.
And I think he had his
ears. Pull her eye out. Did you turn away?
No, I didn't. I was just poorly lit, I think.
Yeah, it was. But you see...
I clearly saw his ear come off.
Yeah, his ear definitely came off.
Yeah.
But they both had an eye out as well.
Okay.
And you see all the gunk coming out of Eliza as they pull her eye away. And then they've got this like weird creepy mask thing.
It's the head of the effigy.
Yeah.
That's next, the big wicker man.
And the eyes get put on that. And it makes it look funny.
Ears, yeah.
It makes it look funny because it makes it look really.
It looks
cartoony.
like Mr. Pop.
It does because it's just got, and that gets raised up onto the top of this fire.
Oh, and the tongue's there as well because they've already took that off the kid.
They've already took that off the kid. Then they all start ringing these creepy bells.
Oh, also there's a horse with wings on it.
Was there?
Yeah, just amongst the crowd, there's a horse that's got like Pegasus wings, like really shit, fancy dress wings on it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. And then Sophia and Ricardo are no more because they get their throats slit.
Yeah, the head gets raised atop
the effigy.
Yeah,
with the kid still inside it. Elisa breaks down. Fabrizio says, "Can I give you a hug?" And then he gives her a hug. She thinks the beer was drugged.
This really quickly.
Yeah.
It just comes out of nowhere. She's really upset, as you would be, and literally it's like click of the fingers. She says, "Oh, you didn't drink any beer. The beer was drugged."
Yeah.
It just felt like a big leap for me.
It really was. Because I didn't get it. Happening. I didn't get what she was getting at because I was like,
no.
Who's been drugged? What?
Yeah.
I was like, drinking the beer wasn't a big thing. It wasn't like they made this big thing about beer being drunk. But she says, we've all drank the beer, but you didn't. So you must be in on this.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck.
Thought it was a really clumsy reveal.
It was. Of a good twist. It's a clumsy reveal of a good twist.
I don't know if it's good, but I'm fine with it as the story.
Yeah.
But it was it was very clunky.
I didn't see...
There was no tension to it.
No.
It was like you drug the beer and...
So you're involved in all this.
Yeah.
I didn't see the fact that he was behind this coming.
No, I didn't either.
So it's a good twist, but it was revealed badly. That makes it a bad
Yeah, and I went, oh, that's cool. But that wasn't my first reaction. My first reaction was, what?
Yeah, same.
Why do you assume that?
Same.
And then I was like, oh, no, cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you are the big bad guy in this film, Fabrizio. The way it was revealed was bad.
There was no impact there.
The twist is good. The reveal is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's even to the point where he's wearing an earpiece, which she spots in his ear as he's hugging her.
And again, I like that because earlier on he mentioned the hearing aid. But it just wasn't... It was just clunky.
Yeah.
It was badly revealed, I thought. Both
because she can, while she's hugging him, she can hear people talking in his earpiece.
Yeah.
So that, because he's like
coordinating
what's going on. Yeah. So he then starts freaking out. And he's like screaming. He's like, no, this can't be happening. He calls her a whore and a slut. And then he says, you've ruined it all. And then he turns to the deer head in the cabin and he says, take her. And then this massive, great big dude comes in and takes her. He was enormous. He
was, yeah. Barely. It's like when I was watching. Just to go back to what we were talking about in the wave earlier this week. We were talking about Red Notice.
Yeah.
And when I was watching, I texted you and said, "The Rock just gets bigger."
You said The Rock wouldn't fit in my garden shed.
Yeah, and that's what I again thought of that watching this movie when this huge guy walked into this shack.
Big old unit, this guy. And he drags her away by kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
And then, again, the film cuts to black for a few seconds.
Yeah, so for the third time in this movie, we awaken with
Elisa, again. There's happy music going on now. There's nice
sunshine.
Music. There's sunshine. It's daytime. There's a barbecue. There's loads of... It's Italian. There's loads of nice foods on the table.
Picnic, aren't we?
We're
Spaghetti is being prepared.
And there's a whole table full of people.
Yeah, it's a long table.
It's a long table.
It's got to be 40 people around this table.
At one end of the table is Eliza.
Yeah.
And at the other end of the table is a creepy, weird blonde woman.
Who we've seen earlier because she was in a newspaper article in the bus.
I didn't pick up on that. Okay.
Yeah. And because someone said, oh, yeah, that's the mayor of the town.
Right, okay.
That we're about to go through.
So we can scroll up this table. We've seen all these nice foods. We scroll from this woman through the crowd of other family members, I assume, that are there. And then we find out that Eliza is nailed to the chair.
Yeah.
With nails through her hands.
Yeah.
That's horrible. We cut back down the table. We meet this scary woman. I've called her scary woman with a fan.
I just put the mayor. Is it mayor? Mayor. What do you say? Mayor or mayor? Mayor.
Mayor.
Do I say it wrong?
Probably. You say a lot of words wrong.
Mayor.
Yeah, it's definitely not mayor.
Is it not?
Mayor. You don't have the mayor. You have the mayor. You don't have the mayor.
How'd you spell it?
Mayor.
Thanks.
But you don't say it, mayor.
Do you?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I'm not so sure about
Shall we do a text in? Text in? Text into the show. Discorders, whatever. How do we pronounce mayor? I say mayor, Nick says mayor. I say tomato, you say tomato. Then there's a kid singing, and he's got a really good voice.
Yeah, it's quite a nice song.
Yeah, it's quite a nice like Italian folk
It's like,
song, I guess.
yeah, before we eat, let's have some entertainment.
Yeah.
There's a local kid.
Yeah, he's got quite a bad facial disfigurement, but he has got a beautiful singing voice.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's just try.
Why is this here?
I don't know. Why is this whole scene here? 'Cause it's just like, let's try and be creepy for no reason.
Basically, yeah.
Because they do a toast to the three saints around this table. Elisa starts crying, and
This was the creepiest bit for the
when
whole film.
when they all start mocking her.
Yeah.
So Eliza
It was
starts.
horrible.
It was. She starts crying because she's like got her hands now to her chair.
All these people have had like a mouthful of food.
Yeah,
40 people down this table
And
turn to her.
yeah, and start pretending to cry at her
Yeah.
and mocking her crying noises. It was really, really
like it.
horrible. This creepy woman,
Mayor.
shuts them all up, stops them doing it, walks up towards Eliza. She says, "You are beautiful,
Yeah.
but the mafia isn't what it used to be,
Yeah.
and we need to adapt."
Indeed.
That was what she said, wasn't it?
I've got the line, the mafia isn't what it used to be.
We need to adapt.
I did watch the original. I watched it with subtitles in Italian.
Did you?
Yeah.
I watched the dub, but like I said, a lot of it's in English anyway, isn't it? And then the police arrive. A police car turns up.
Sure.
And so Eliza's like, "Oh, I might be saved here."
Help.
She starts screaming, and they start mocking her again, screaming help and stuff. And then this woman walks towards this police car.
She's off to work.
She gets in the police car and clears off.
She says something like, I've got an engagement or to go to.
And we never see her again.
No.
Odd. It's one word to describe. That whole scene's just weird. It's really out of place as well.
Elisa's then wheeled away from the table.
One of the older guys.
Into a...
Turns out she's nailed to a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he nails her into this like shed room.
Yeah.
Full of TV monitors.
It's a control room, yeah.
Yeah. And she's staring at these monitors, and it's all the
location
sets that we've seen before.
So we've got the cabin, the car graveyard, internal of the camper van.
The camper van.
The
insides of the house.
The attic, the clearing.
Yeah. So, and then the monitors all start to go off, and then they're all one big image of Fabrizio.
Yeah.
That's his name. And it turns out he's filmed it all because he makes horror movies.
Yeah, he says, I've been paid a lot
to
put this together. And he says something like, an investor is relying on me to finish this movie.
Yeah.
So he's basically making a snuff movie for
making a snuff movie.
Some rich person.
And she's ruined it because she kind of figured out what was going on and that he was involved. So he's like, "You fucked my movie."
Yeah.
And she starts laughing at him.
Yeah. I quite like this as well because this got to him and I bought this. I was like, yeah, I can see a self-obsessed director type person this absolutely flooring him.
She says one line to him that really irritated him because she says, "So I'm going to end up dying in a loser's fake movie."
Yeah, he says, your movie's shit.
And he really didn't. He says, "Look,
I think she actually says that it's really derivative."
Yeah. And he says, "Look, it's the future of cinema. This is the way cinema's going."
Yeah, he's like, well, life is shit, so
yeah,
I'm just reflecting the world, something like that.
He says it's the future of cinema, and she says, "Not my cinema," which I thought was really funny.
She just wants the latest Marvel,
and then she's she's just into like chick flicks. And he's like, okay, we'll see what happens. And then she pulls her hands off these nails.
Yeah.
And it takes ages and it's quite horrible.
Would you, if you were in this situation, would you go fast or slow?
Oh, I think you've got to go fast, haven't you? But it's going to really hurt.
Of course it's going to hurt.
It's going to really hurt. The head of the nail is going to be the hardest bit.
Yeah. You don't want to like be pulling huge
chunks out of your hand.
But it's just better to pull that nail out.
You've got to go fast,
isn't it?
Would you pull the nail out? But you can't pull the nail out. I suppose you've got to pull your hand off the nail.
No, because you've got both hands.
You've got both hands nailed down. So you've got to pull your hands up through the nail.
Yeah.
You've got to go fast. She doesn't.
No, she goes
really
slow
slowly
and squelchy.
And it takes ages. And while she's doing it, some very Saw-like music plays. You know, like the violin music from Saw.
Yes.
It's very much like that. But then she gets up, she gets them off, she gets up, she walks out of this building. And it's outside is literally a movie backlot. There's caravans, trailers out there. There's gazebos with props underneath.
Do we presume everyone's still at the table eating? Is that why there's no one around?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah,
I'll let it. It can have it.
So yeah, there's all the props. So every prop that we've seen so far is there. Like all the effigies and stuff. That's all piled up now into these gazebos. And she goes into a tent.
Yes.
And in the tent are all the creepy masks.
It's a costume tent.
Yeah, it's what all the guys were wearing earlier on.
Yeah.
All the wooden masks, all the pig masks. And all the cameras are in there as well.
Yeah.
They're all set up in there. Then we cut to Fabrizio in here.
Oh,
he's in...
Someone's also left all the guns lying around.
Oh, yeah, there's like
Which felt a little bit uncomfortable given the news from the last few weeks.
And all the axes and stuff.
Yeah.
And the big hammer was there as well. And then we cut to Fabrizio. He's in a caravan. And he's having a director's tantrum at somebody.
He's prepping for his the afternoon shoot, I guess.
And he's losing his shit because everything's going on.
We've got to rewrite it. Well, what are we going to do now? This isn't going to plan.
And the camera slowly turns to reveal who he's talking to. And he's talking to the young girl who we met earlier.
Who had a tongue cut out. Chiara.
And she starts talking back at him.
Yeah.
Because she's an actress.
She's fully tongued up.
She has a tongue. She's an actress. She's playing a part in this movie.
Yeah.
And was his sister?
Yeah, I think so.
Was the woman his mum?
Their mother was mentioned. I didn't make the connection that it was the mayor, but yeah, it could have been.
I think it must have been. But they're having this massive row about how they continue with this movie now and how
they're having a creative difference.
They are.
I think you would classify them as.
The kid slaps him and says, "Shut up, asshole."
Yeah.
And he calls her a stupid dwarf. And they're arguing like brother and sister.
Sure.
But they do agree on the fact that they need a new ending for this film because Eliza's fucked it up.
Yeah.
Whatever's going to happen. So the girl gets herself back into her costume, into her makeup.
Yeah, she puts her fake palette in.
Fake mouthpiece that's not got a tongue in. And she can't talk when she's got that in, so she has to take it out again to keep on the argument. Then she's like, right, I'm going out onto set. So she opens the caravan door and Eliza's standing there with a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah, and a mask on.
And blows the fuck out of
That's
her
good.
with a shotgun. It's awesome.
Good, because as soon as she opens the door, she's wiped out.
Yeah,
and it's like...
And she flies back through the scene and hits the back rear caravan wall. While Fabrizio's just standing there, not expecting it. It was a really good scene. She's filmed that as well. Eliza set up one of the cameras and he starts chasing her and she's trying to shoot him, but her gun's not loaded anymore.
Yeah.
So while she's running from him, she's loading the gun and she kind of runs and turns and shoots him in the leg all at the same time.
Kneecaps him, yeah.
She takes his kneecap out and she's filmed that as well. So he's now on the floor screaming. His sister's dead. She's got one of the creepy masks on and she looks over his body. She stands over his body and she says, "Don't worry, it's only a movie."
Yeah, and no one comes to. Is it? Am I being picky? No one comes to their aid.
Have the extras all left at this point?
Well, I think it's either, and I am filling the gaps between the lines here. They're either all left, or they're all, like I say, they're all eating. It's catering. It's lunch break.
Yeah. Every other point when this film fades to black, it happens 3 times. Some time has passed.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming at some point, some time passed.
Well, it could be the next day, and they've not on set yet.
Yeah, or just be later on that day. He says, "Don't worry, it's only a movie," and he's kind of screaming. He's not begging for his life. He's still slagging her off. He's still like, "You bitch."
It goes through a lot of emotions in these minutes.
Shit, she's going to shoot me in the head.
He's like, "I'm really scared.
There's a really nice shot where she's got the shotgun to his forehead. And she kind of drags it down his face, and it ends up in his mouth.
Because he won't shut up.
Yeah.
Because she actually says, "You talk too much." The shot with the barrel ends up in his mouth.
And then she just pulls the trigger. And I was expecting his head to explode, and it didn't. it just blew the back of his head out. And I thought that was a really nice shot as well, because a normal horror movie would have their head just explode.
Yeah.
But that's not what would happen. So it was quite realistic. And she blows him up. She kills him. And she walks over to the camera where she'd set up and filmed all of this and takes the mask off. And then she's put, "There's your ending." Yeah. She says that to camera, and then she turns the camera off. And she walks off into the forest. This bit really made me laugh. So this is the end of the film.
So she's walking through the woods and the sirens start again. So I think if we are filling in the gaps, that is, everyone else has found the scene.
Yeah.
And tried to raise the alarm, I guess.
I guess so. So she's walking through this forest and she turns around because she can hear somebody behind her.
Yeah.
And what she sees is a fat kid in swimming trunks with armbands on.
And flip-flops on,
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? This kid freaks out. And she's covered in blood.
Yeah.
She's
still carrying the shotgun.
Still carrying the shotgun. So he legs it in his flip-flops through this forest.
Yeah, not very fast.
He climbs through a fence. She follows him because she's like, well, this is weird. I'm going to follow this kid. He climbs through a fence, which is like a military base.
Yeah,
fence.
So we see it. She doesn't notice that there's a sign on the fence that basically says, no trespassing.
Military keep out.
Property.
So this kid's obviously got in there for an explore. She's followed him because when she gets out there, she's on a beach.
Yep.
And this is a tourist beach that's full of people. Yeah. There's loads of people there. And so she's now walking along this beach covered in blood.
And everyone's like getting their cameras out to film her.
Exactly, which I really liked.
Yeah.
She's covered in blood. She's got a shotgun. She's just walking across this beach. Everybody's looking at her on this beach. It's really creepy. Everybody's filming what she's doing. And it was like a real metaphor for what was going on before. Everybody films everything these days. She drops her phone in. She gets loads of messages.
Yeah, because her phone gets signal.
Phone
there were a load of messages from her mother saying, "Why are you late? Why are you late for this appointment? You better not have changed your mind." Nasty, quite nasty.
Yeah.
She just carries on walking. She goes in the sea.
She walks into the sea, and she just walks. And this is where we finish the film. She walks into the sea, and she's literally underwater, still walking in the water, and then she hugs her.
Yeah, she like cradles her
belly.
Yeah.
And then the film ends.
Yeah.
And then what I think might be the best after credit scene I've ever seen.
Do you think?
I really enjoyed it.
Because I thought this was...
It was stupid.
Yeah, it was really stupid.
I think Netflix added it, personally, because there's a guy sitting on his computer, like we are now, and he's in a chat room, and they're talking about this film. It was a shame. It was in Italian, so they did subtitle it on.
Yeah, it was like a message board. Have you seen this movie?
Yeah, everybody's talking about this movie on this message board, and then this bloke's like, "Oh, I've not seen it yet. I'll go and watch it now." And he opens up his Bloodflix app, which is exactly the same font as Netflix, and it even does the ba-boom with Bloodflix. Yeah. And then the Bloodflix app is exactly the same as the Netflix app, even to the point where the classic horror movie photos are the same. The font, the title, everything is the picture of the cabin. Yeah. And then he starts watching this film. But he only watches the first scene, which we see, and the last
Then he goes 10 minutes in. Yeah, he goes about 10 minutes in, and then he goes to the end
and watches the end. And then the film ends.
And then, he presses dislike.
Dislike, he presses the dislike button, and then the film ends.
Isn't that just the filmmaker getting ahead of himself and going, well,
I really
no one watches these things anyway?
I really liked it. I think it's Netflix going...
It's not Netflix.
No, it's not Netflix, but it was. I really liked it. I thought it was really clever.
It was stupid.
It was stupid. The whole film's stupid. But this film's obviously been finished and made, and somebody's put it on Netflix because every old shit can get on Netflix or Netflix. That's what they were getting at. What did you think? It's hard, isn't it?
It's tough because I kind of wanted. I don't know. That's the whole joke. I kind of just wanted a classic horror story because the setup we got, I was like, this is creepy.
Yeah.
And then I was a bit disappointed when I was like, oh, it's just a cult. I've seen this movie before.
And then it's just somebody making a film.
Yeah, so I was a bit all over the shop. Parts of it I really liked.
It teased being supernatural a lot and then wasn't. And that's kind of unforgivable to me.
I kind of was disappointed that rug was pulled away from
agreed.
me.
Because it doesn't explain the supernatural elements to the film. There is the biggest supernatural element to the film is this camper van. Crashes into the tree.
How did they get that camper van into the
it crashes into the tree and then it's in the middle of a forest.
Which isn't tow it?
It isn't even possible. Looking at the surroundings, you wouldn't even be able to get that there.
Well,
it must have been airlift.
The doctor even says that, doesn't he? He says, you can't have driven us here.
Yeah.
Because
you wouldn't get through the trees.
No, but the forest is tightly packed.
There's a clearing that they're in, but the forest around it is tightly packed. It must have been airlifted in. That's the only way, and that doesn't make any sense. And that's never explained, and that's kind of, for me, that's kind of unforgivable.
Yeah,
because it's unnecessary as well.
It's a prick tease, isn't it?
It is.
Just for the striking visual.
It is. It's unnecessary because they could have just woken up in the field
on their backs.
On their backs, yeah. The camper van didn't need to be there. It's the film going, this is going to be spooky, and then it isn't. That took me right out of it. The fact that isn't explained kind of ruins it for me.
And that's my concern. I think is that people go, well, it's we're just being meta.
Yeah,
we've got a creepy images, creepy masks, creepy cult, and then we're pulling the rug away from you.
You're doing all these horror movie tropes, which is what they were doing. That's what the whole thing is. But if they don't make sense, it's just doing something.
I just don't think it's a good enough answer to say, well, we were being derivative on purpose because then we wanted that accusation to go at Fabrizio that he hadn't come up with anything original.
Yeah, which is fine. But if it doesn't make sense, then it's unforgivable. It's pointless.
It was patchy. I thought it was patchy.
It's patchy
for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
I'm still not sure if I liked it. I didn't dislike it. Parts of it I did like, and I think
there's parts of it that are scary, and there are parts of it that are creepy, and there are parts of it that are too gory.
I think overall it fell flat for me. Yeah, I don't think it stuck the landing.
I don't think it did either. I think there's bits of it that you just can't get past.
And I don't know how much of that is my expectations. Okay, it's called a classic horror story. It's from Italy. It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's going to be bloody gory. And I wasn't...
And
it did have a bit of gore in it, but it never made me go, ooh.
Apart from that ankle shot when he...
Yeah, but you've seen it before.
You've seen it hundreds of times before.
Yeah.
But it's still horrible to see.
And that's what I mean. It wasn't as weird. It wasn't as weird as I expected.
When you think Italian horror movie, you do think this is
we're going some places.
Yeah, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a bit of a letdown.
Didn't stick the ending for me.
It didn't. What's the best thing about this film?
I think overall, the performances are good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The setting's really nice. The cabin is really creepy and spooky.
I think this has probably got... I know we're very early on in our season. I think they're the best performances that we've seen. I think the lady who plays Elise is very good.
Yeah, the guy who played Fabrizio was really good. I didn't see that coming at all, that twist. But I don't think I was looking for a twist. I didn't expect a twist at all.
So I think that would be my... Yeah.
The performances.
Yeah. How about you?
I think the setting. I think the cabin was really nice. The
production design is good.
The ominousness of the forest is really nice.
Yeah.
What would you change about it? There's a lot here to change.
I would have... Again, maybe this is partly down to my expectations. Played it straight. What I was expecting to get just play it straight, old-fashioned horror movie.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting the sort of social commentary on
Italian horror
and the
meta-ness doesn't need to be there, does it?
For me it fell flat. The meta-ness fell flat.
Agreed. I'd take the supernatural prick teasers out of it because it kind of it makes you expect one thing and you get another, and it never came back from that for me.
Yeah, but then they've tried something a bit different with the whole it's a movie set. But
I've nothing against that. The fact that he was making a film, I'm fine with. It's just to make it make sense what you're doing.
It doesn't quite tie together.
It doesn't, and it needs to. Do you want to sort of stream table?
Sure.
What are you thinking? So I'm going to try and do this from memory.
Okay.
Currently at the bottom of the stream is Secret Obsession.
Correct.
Then Destruction Las Vegas. Then Containment. And then Arlo the Alligator Boy is currently number one.
Yeah. Now, I would say it's not often that I come away thinking, I didn't really like that movie. But then 3 weeks later, it's kind of still kicking, I guess. Because I think this is just below Containment for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't really like Containment, but it's the second best thing we've seen early on in this series.
So you're thinking it's better than Destruction Las Vegas?
Yeah, I think so. It's more inventive.
I don't think it is.
There's more to it than
There's
last
more
week's
to
movie.
it, but I would go as far as to say that this isn't as good a film as that.
But that's. Well, I'm more going on. That's totally brainless, and this is trying to do something.
Yeah,
it didn't really work for me, but
it's trying to do something and fails at it.
But there's more intrigue. There's more It's more interesting. It's not paint by numbers, is it?
Which one would you watch again?
This one.
Would you really?
Yeah, over that.
Wow.
I'm not watching Destruction Las Vegas.
I'm not watching either of them
No
again,
way.
don't get me wrong. But if somebody had a gun to my head, I'd pick that one. I don't think I'd pick this.
I think I'd pick this. Because I think there's more discussion to be had on this. That's...
You being more forgiving on horror films than me. How's this happened? That never happened.
Oh, we're on a curve here. Look at what we're
I
comparing.
told
it
you,
against,
didn't I tell you the other day that we'd be arguing at some point about Destruction Las Vegas, and we're already doing it. I don't want this above Destruction Las Vegas.
No, we can't have that. That's a terrible movie.
So is this.
This isn't a terrible movie.
Yeah, but that's at least
You had fun watching a terrible movie last week.
I did, yeah.
That's fine.
And I didn't have fun watching a half decent movie this week. I don't know. It's tough.
It's not tough.
It's tough.
This is,
Fine.
for me, this is more interesting. It's flawed. Doesn't stick the landing, but it's trying to do something. Destruction Las Vegas is just there's a million movies like that.
Yeah, there are like this though. There's a lot of bad horror movies.
Yeah, but you see more horror movies than I do.
True. Then you're being well forgiven on this one. That's fine. We'll put it there then. We'll put it third out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay. You owe me one though. What do you want from next week, Nick? Tell you what we need to do. We need to get the wild card starting because we're going to be 6 episodes in and there's 5 wild cards to play.
I was having a look at that this week.
Okay.
And
I'm not telling you to play it.
No, I know. All I'm saying is I thought about it because I hadn't looked at them at all. I thought I've not spent much time looking at what's on the list of what would I pick. And I know we talked about, the competition is who's going to... And by all means, please choose what you think is going to be a good movie and you'll get your prize. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to play it like that because I might just go, fuck it, I want to watch Flying Monkeys, which I spotted on the list.
That's taken my eye as well, to be honest.
So
people shouldn't be playing their wildcards trying to win the wildcard race. That's not what should be happening. People should be picking a film that they think looks good and hoping that they win. They shouldn't be picking a film that they think this is going to be amazing. I'll win the race with this. That's not what I want. I want people to just pick a film that they think looks purely going by the title and maybe the synopsis.
Well, that's all you've got to go on.
That's all you've got to go on. I don't want you to try and pick the best film off the list.
Well, I'm not playing mine this week.
Good, not me. So, shall I press the button?
Yes, please.
It has picked a film called What Happened to Monday.
Okay.
Any ideas?
Nope.
Would you like me to tell you?
Yes, please.
It's an action, crime, fantasy, mystery, sci-fi thriller.
Covering all the bases.
From 2017. Would you like to hear the synopsis?
Yes, I would.
In a world where families are limited to one child due to overpopulation, a set of identical septuplets must avoid being put to a long sleep by the government and dangerous infighting while investigating the disappearance of one of their own. Oh, sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does, actually.
The poster has a different title.
Okay. I love it when this happens.
The poster is called Seven Sisters. Do you want to know who's in it?
Yes, please.
Oh, no, it is. All the 7 sisters are played by the same person. Numi Rapace.
Okay.
Plays the Setman siblings.
The girl with a dragon tattoo herself.
That's her. Glenn Close is in this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Willem Dafoe
okay.
is in this. There's a cast.
This is a treat for us to see a few stars.
Quite highly regarded. It's 6.9 on IMDb.
Okay.
That'll be the biggest we've done this season. So yeah, we'll watch that, shall we?
We shall.
So go and check out What Happened to Monday. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. The same username @BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, please do. It's bottomofthestream@gmail.com. If you want to go to the website, you can do that. It's bottomofthestream.com. I'm going to update the website this weekend.
Okay.
I've said that now.
I need to provide you with a few more bits for it then.
Yes, you do.
They are on our Letterboxd account, but
I'm not going to lie. Our website is a little bit out of date, but I am going to find some time to update it.
Okay.
You can still get every episode we've ever recorded. You can still find all the stream tables. That's what's out of date a little bit. You can get some merch if you want to buy some Bottom of the Stream pants.
Sure.
I think there are actually some boxer shorts on there.
I was also thinking clothing.
Really?
I was thinking sombreros.
I don't think you can get a bottom of the stream sombrero, but that'd be cool. When you've done all that, go to Patreon, patreon.com/bottom of the stream. For a couple of quid every month, you will get early access to the movie show episodes. You will get bonus episodes. Nick writes a newsletter every single month. And if you come in at the top level, you'll get a wild card, which means you can forgive Robin of his job for a week and you can pick the film that we will watch.
Sure.
And once you've done all of that, come over to Discord, come in there, chat to us. We think we've just picked a Christmas film that we're going to watch at some point. So we do watch along movies in there, so come along and join that if you want to.
Sounds good to me.
Me too.
I don't know what you're talking about regarding that Christmas movie.
Yeah,
so
you do.
I need to go and talk.
We spoke about it earlier.
In the Discord.
Go and check in the Discord.
No, we didn't.
We did.
No, we didn't. You didn't talk to me about it.
Okay, I'll talk to somebody about it. It's got Bill Goldberg in.
Okay, fine. If you've got a few minutes spare, could you please consider leaving us a review anywhere that you can review podcasts? That could be on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Podchaser, on Podbean, on Cephalopod, on Pandora. Just give us a review. It really helps us out. Maybe you could make your own movie version of a review and submit that.
That'd
I'm
be
sure
cool.
that must be possible somewhere.
If you do that, we'll review it for you.
Review your review.
We'll review your
now
review.
we're gone meta.
It's gone so meta. Yeah, do all that. Go out and watch What Happened to Monday, and we'll come back next week for The Wave on Monday and the movie show on Thursday.
Cheers.
Bye.